Today there is important news from Sweden. Here, Sweden decided to fundamentally change the balance of air power over Ukraine and completely transform Ukrainian air combat capabilities. What initially looked like another military aid package has rapidly turned out to be something much bigger, which will give Ukraine full control of the skies. Everything is set to change in the Ukrainian sky, as Sweden officially announced during Zelensky's visit that they approved the purchase of 20 new Gripen EF variants for the Ukrainian Air Force. However, the Swedes just made the deal a lot bigger, as they announced the transfer of 16 Gripen CD fighter jets to Ukraine free of charge, with the CD variants arriving in Ukraine by the start of 2027. During Zelensky's visit, Swedish Gripen fighters escorted his aircraft, almost serving as a window into the future of Ukraine's Air Force. On top of that, Sweden added a massive military support package worth 4 billion euros, including Meteor missiles, long-term maintenance support for the purchased Gripen aircraft, and additional funding for Ukrainian drone production. Ukraine and Sweden have been quietly preparing this transition for months, with the formal letter of intent signed in late 2025 laying the groundwork for extensive cooperation, with the eventual purchase of up to 150 aircraft. Ukrainian pilots have already undergone introductory Gripen training and familiarization flights, while Swedish and Ukrainian defense officials coordinated logistics, maintenance, and operational integration behind the scenes. Even Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha's selfie with Gripens in the background, posted last week, appears to have been a deliberate hint that the deal was struck, with Zelensky making it official. However, possibly more importantly, Ukraine will also receive Meteor long-range air-to-air missiles, together with the Gripens. This can be one of the most significant aspects of the deal, because the Meteor fundamentally changes how Ukrainian pilots can engage Russian aircraft. The missile can strike targets at distances approaching 200 kilometers and possesses one of the largest no-escape zones in the world. This means Russian pilots will both be engaged from a much further distance than before and have a much smaller chance of being able to safely disengage once Ukrainian jets fire their missiles, even if they immediately turn away or attempt evasive maneuvers. For Ukraine, this creates a massive operational advantage, as Russian aircraft currently rely heavily on operating behind the front line while launching glide bombs from relatively safe distances. Meteor missiles threaten this aircraft far earlier, pushing the safe zone for Russian pilots too far behind the front line to conduct devastating glide bomb attacks on Ukrainian cities and defensive positions. This means that Russia's most effective aerial support tactic is now well within Ukraine's ability to intercept. The Gripen jet itself is equally important because it was designed specifically for the kind of asymmetric warfare Ukraine is already fighting. During the Cold War, Sweden expected that Russian missile strikes would quickly destroy traditional air bases. As a result, the Gripen was engineered to operate from highways, improvised runways, and dispersed locations with minimal crews and extremely rapid turnaround times. Specifically, it only takes around 10 to 15 minutes to fully rearm and refuel the Gripen, with a team of 1 certified technician and 5 conscript mechanics needing only 2 trucks with fuel, ammunition, and basic equipment to achieve these rapid times. This fits Ukraine's wartime reality perfectly, as Ukrainian aircraft are already constantly relocating between temporary bases to survive Russian missile attacks. The difference is that Ukrainian pilots have been adapting older Soviet aircraft to this role, while the Gripen was purpose-built for it from the beginning. Small maintenance teams can refuel and rearm the aircraft within minutes, allowing very high sortie rates even under constant missile threat. At the same time, the future Gripen EF variants represent an even larger leap forward, as unlike the older CD models, the EF incorporates the new Superior Raven radar, advanced infrared search systems, which will allow Ukrainian pilots to detect and engage threats much earlier. Combined with the modern electronic warfare suite, it improves survivability against Russian air defense systems. The improved fuel capacity for extended combat range with a more powerful engine gives the Gripen the ability to carry significantly more weapons, including up to 8 Meteor missiles. All this allows the Gripen EF to transform Ukraine's strategy from merely surviving into actively contesting and suppressing Russian air operations near the front line, giving Ukraine air superiority. Overall, the Gripen deal represents far more than another arms transfer, as Sweden is not simply donating older aircraft, but helping Ukraine build a future air force designed specifically for survival and effectiveness against a larger opponent. The Gripen CD will immediately strengthen Ukraine's dispersed and resilient style of warfare, while the future Gripen EF variants promise an even more dramatic increase in long-range combat capability. Together with Meteor missiles, these aircraft could fundamentally reshape the air war by forcing Russian aviation farther from the battlefield and gradually giving Ukraine the ability not just to survive in contested skies, but to dominate key parts of them. If you would like to explore other key developments today that we couldn't cover in this video, make sure to visit our interactive news map. The link to our interactive map is in the description below. Thank you for watching this update, and a special thanks to everyone already following our interactive map.